let's make a pledge to ourselves right now to stop letting others determine how our journey to fluency should look like. If you have been struggling with seeing other content from YouTube or Instagram about language learning that leaves you feeling worse than when you started actually engaging with that content in the first place, if you have been feeling a lot of guilt and frustration, maybe even some resentment towards the language learning experience, and you just don't know how to get out of a rut, this is why I made this video for you, because your language learning deserves so much more than trying to adhere to someone else's expectations or imagined expectations that you perceive others to have as an adult approaching a really vulnerable thing like learning a language. Let's reclaim your journey and understand a little bit more about how to make your own journey more sustainable, more enjoyable, and more useful to you all at once, because yeah, these three things are possible. The first thing I want you to do is to define your authentic goal from, let's say, your ego goal. We all have an ego. We all have sometimes really high expectations for ourselves that are unfair to us. Just considering what kind of life circumstances we have, what access to resources we have. And understanding what an authentic goal is for you is so important before you even start picking out resources and making a language learning routine. Now, this happened to me when I was studying in Istanbul last year. I was focusing on Turkish, and my ego wanted me to go and take the C1 exam for Turkish. Literally commit like 2 months of my life to the class and then take the exam. I found myself dragging myself out of the door to class because I wasn't being honest with myself that my more authentic goal was literally just to stay at a B2, even though my ego wanted that C1 certificate. I didn't need to live in Istanbul. I was probably never going to return to Turkey again after learning Turkish for those 3 months and finishing my B2 course. So why would I want to go to C1? That was really where I had to have a reckoning with myself of understanding it's okay that you want that recognition that you guessed you're going to receive after getting a C1 exam. But ultimately, this is your life, Emily, and B2 is really all that you need. I could also say that my ego really wanted this expectation to hold true for myself. It's okay to have a desire, right? To, in my case, want to reach a C1, right, in Turkish, even though it is not practical. I think when we just can't get rid of a high expectation, what is really happening is that we have that innate desire to want to do well, but a desire doesn't have to be an expectation. We can just let it be there, and that helps us accept that that is what we want, a part of us, our ego maybe. But in doing so, we can compartmentalize, okay, that is just a desire. What is my actual sustainable goal that is still useful and still enjoyable for me to do? Now, this does get tricky when you have to learn a language to a specific level in a really tight time frame, maybe because you're moving to a new country or you have a job coming up, right? That is a different story for a different video. But if you are a solo language learner, learning languages on your own terms outside of a work perspective, then this is really something to give a food for thought to. I also invite you now to think about what have you been doing so far this year that has made you trust someone else over yourself in terms of what kind of decisions you're making in your language learning. If we keep on outsourcing our intuition fully onto what someone else is doing in their learning journey, what resources they're using, how they are presenting themselves online, how we feel that we put pressure on our own selves to do exactly the same thing, then we're not listening to what we actually need as human beings. You know yourself better than anyone. You've had the most experience with yourself and how you learn languages. And you also are the most important component to your language learning journey itself. If you are not doing good physically, mentally, emotionally, then your whole language learning ecosystem, right? The way that you learn vocabulary, the way that you show up to a conversation class, the way that you come with energy to go to a language learning event or meet your tandem partner. All of the activities will be negatively effective if you are not taking care of the source. And part of taking care of that source is learning to trust yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever go out and ask for feedback on your grammar or how you speak with your teacher on a language learning platform, right? Of course we need feedback. That is how we grow and get better. But in terms of understanding how to structure your own journey, how to structure those resources, whether those be live language learning teachers or a textbook or an app or program, you know already, and you have already what it takes inside you to understand how to structure that, right? That intuition that you already have has been blocked by what others' expectations have built within you. What do you actually need? Do you need to actually slow down? Do you need to take a break? Do you need to take a break from one language while enjoying another language, right? These are all questions that we tend to second guess ourselves a lot on because we do not trust ourselves. And then that takes away so much more mental energy from us just worrying and spiraling about this that we could have actually been using on actual learning, actual enjoying the process. That is what I want for you. And that is also what outsourcing too much of your intuition onto someone else's journey and expectations makes you lose, right? A lot of joy on the journey. That's not what I want. So really reflect on that for this week. In what ways have you not been trusting yourself? This is the point in your language learning journey where you can truly have the freedom of defining what success, what fluency even means to you. Because I'm guessing if you're watching this video and you are a language learner, most likely your goal has to do somewhat with fluency, with speaking. So I invite you to think about all the ways that we as language learners are really conditioned to think in black and white, all or nothing thinking, right? If I make a mistake, that means I'm not fluent. If I am not able to show up with the same amount of energy and learn this many words by this time frame this week, then I am a complete failure, right? All of these different ways of talking to ourselves that really influence how we are enjoying the journey and where we are actually spending more of our mental energy on. Once you realize that you are truly your own best authority on your language learning, that is when so much more opportunity and joy opens up for you. We get to explore a lot of this in other videos that I'm going to link above at this point, so do make sure to check out that playlist. But I'm interested in seeing in the comments below, what was your best takeaway from this video? And how would you like to define success differently in your own language learning? Make sure to like and subscribe if you did find this video helpful. It really helps the algorithm get my work out to other language learners just like you. And we'll see each other in another video very soon.